I'm 74 years old, and both of my parents have been gone for a long time now. Long enough that their voices don't sound the same in my head anymore. Long enough that I can't remember exactly how my mother laughed or how my father cleared his throat before he spoke. There's a question I never asked them. Not because I didn't care, but because I thought there would be more time. I'm sitting in my living room as I say this, the same chair I sit in every morning. The house is quiet in a way it never used to be. Quiet has a different weight when you're older. It doesn't feel peaceful. It feels final. I'm not telling this story to make sense of it for myself. I've already lived with it long enough. I'm telling it because I know how easy it is to believe you'll get around to things later. When you're young, later feels endless. My parents were ordinary people. No big legacy, no dramatic story. They worked, paid bills, argued about money, worried about their kids. They loved us in practical ways. Meals on the table, clothes that fit, a roof that didn't leak, most of the time. They weren't very expressive. We didn't talk about feelings. We talked about chores, schedules, what needed fixing, what needed paying. I grew up thinking that was just how life was. You do what's in front of you. You don't linger too much on questions that don't have clear answers. When I was in my 20s, I was busy becoming someone, or at least trying to. I had a job that took more of me than I expected. Long hours, long commutes. I was tired all the time, but I wore that tiredness like proof that I was doing something right. My parents were still alive then, still healthy, as far as I could tell. They lived about an hour away, not far enough to feel distant, not close enough to feel urgent. I told myself I'd visit next weekend, or the weekend after that. I called sometimes, short calls, updates, practical talk. How's work? Fine. How's your mother? She's all right. We didn't go much deeper than that. It wasn't unusual. It was normal. In my 30s, I had my own family. Responsibilities stacked on top of each other. Mortgage, kids, a job that followed me home even when I wasn't there. My parents started to feel like part of the background of my life. Steady, unchanging. They got older quietly. No announcements, no alarms, just small changes I noticed and ignored. My father moved slower. My mother repeated herself sometimes. They didn't complain, so I didn't worry. I remember one visit in particular. I must have been about 38. My mother was making coffee. She stopped halfway through and looked at me for a second longer than usual. She said, "You ever wonder how we ended up here?" I laughed it off. I said something like, "What do you mean?" She shrugged and went back to the coffee. That was it. That was the moment. I didn't ask her what she meant. I didn't ask if she was happy. I didn't ask what she regretted. I didn't ask what she was proud of. I was already thinking about the drive home, about work the next day, about everything except what was right in front of me. Years pass faster than you think they will. They don't announce themselves. They just stack up behind you. My father got sick first. Nothing dramatic at first, just tiredness. A diagnosis that sounded manageable, treatments that became routines. I told myself we still had time. I visited more then, sat in hospital rooms, talked about weather and news and bills. He tried to stay cheerful. I tried not to think about endings. One afternoon, when it was just the two of us, he looked at me and said, "You doing all right with your life?" I said yes, automatically. I didn't know how else to answer. He nodded. That was the end of it. That was the question I should have followed up on. That was my opening. But I didn't ask him anything in return. I didn't ask if he felt the same. I didn't ask if he would do it all again. I didn't ask what he wished he'd done differently. I thought I was protecting him, or maybe I was protecting myself. He died 6 months later. After the funeral, people tell you he's at peace. They tell you he knew you loved him. They tell you all the things they think you need to hear. What they don't tell you is how quiet your mind becomes when there's no one left to ask. My mother lived another 7 years. She aged quickly after my father died. Grief changed her shape, her posture, her voice. I visited her more often then. I thought I was making up for lost time. But even then, I stayed on the surface. I asked if she needed groceries, if the heater was working, if she'd taken her medication. One evening, she said, "Your father worried about you." I said, "About what?" She shook her head. "About whether you were happy." That was all she said. I didn't ask her what she thought. I didn't ask what she worried about for herself. I didn't ask what kept her up at night. I thought there would be another evening, another chance. She died in her sleep a year later. After that, there was no one left who remembered me as a child. No one left who knew the full version of my beginning.
That's when the question started to ache. I wanted to ask them if they were happy with the lives they lived. Not in a neat way, not in a summary. I wanted to know the truth, the complicated version. I wanted to ask my father if working so much was worth it. I wanted to ask my mother if she ever felt invisible. I wanted to ask them what they sacrificed without telling anyone. I wanted to ask what they hoped I would understand before it was too late. But questions don't travel forward. They stop where people stop. I'm 74 now, the age they were when I started thinking of them as old. That thought alone still surprises me. I understand now how young they still were, how much life they were carrying quietly. I look back and I don't see big mistakes. I see reasonable choices, sensible decisions, the kind you make when you're trying to do the right thing. That's what makes this kind of regret hard to talk about. It doesn't come from failure, it comes from delay, from assuming the door would stay open. As you get older, you realize how many conversations you postponed without realizing you were postponing them forever. No one tells you the last normal conversation is often the last one. I live with the answers I imagine they might have given, but imagined answers are thin. They don't settle anything, they just echo. Sometimes I catch myself rehearsing what I would say if they were sitting across from me now. Then I remember they aren't, and that realization still lands heavy. If you're listening to this and your parents are still alive, I won't tell you what to do. I don't have that kind of certainty. I'll only say this. The questions that feel awkward now don't get easier later. They disappear. Ask them who they were before they became your parents. Ask them what surprised them about life. Ask them what they're still carrying. Not because it will fix anything, but because one day you might sit where I am and realize silence has answers of its own. I don't expect to be remembered for very long after I'm gone. That's something you come to terms with at this age. But I do wish I had known my parents more fully while they were here. Not as caretakers, not as background figures, but as people who lived entire lives before I noticed. There are days I feel grateful, truly grateful, and there are days the regret settles in quietly, like dust. Both can exist at the same time. I don't have much time left myself. I feel that now. Not fear, just awareness, a narrowing. If this story meant something to you, you can sit with it. You don't need to rush anywhere. That's all I wanted to say.